Hi guys, and welcome to the Pillion Pooch unboxing and installation video. First off, we'd like to say thank you for choosing us. We put a lot of time and effort into making the Pillion Pooch the best option for you and your four-legged friend. And knowing that you guys feel safe in our hands means a lot. We know you're keen to get out riding straight away, but there are a few steps we need to go through before your dog can feel the wind in their ears. So let's start at the very beginning. Before we even open the box, let's go through the tools you'll need for assembly. Here I have an electric drill with an 8mm drill bit. You'll need the required drill bits for your mounting hardware. If you're using the Harley-Davidson Tour Pack or the BRE rack, an 8mm drill bit will do the job. I also have a 5mm and a 2.5mm Allen key, which I'll be using on an electric screwdriver, but you can tighten by hand. I also have a small container to keep my screws so they don't escape, although I guess that's optional. Once we have these items to hand, we can open the box. Please don't use a sharp knife for opening the box. You have no idea how often people slip and cut themselves, and we want to get you riding as soon as possible. So I'm using a flathead screwdriver, as I have one to hand, but a set of keys is often my go-to when opening packaging. I don't know about you, but I love opening boxes. Always exciting. So here we are. There is a lot of pieces jam-packed into this box, so let's go ahead and get them out and make sure we have everything we're supposed to. First off, we have your Pillion Pooch cover. I'm going to set that down over here as we won't be needing this for a while. The top and bottom apex pieces, the chain and screw bag, the user guide and installation manual, which I advise you to read, as awesome as this video may be. So, the row bars can be a little difficult to remove if not done correctly. The top bar comes tucked behind the other three. Push it fully down towards the bottom, as it may have moved in transit. The bar can then rotate, and the short end comes out easily. You'll need to do this for all 4 bars. Next is the dog bed. The false floor. The tub. And finally, the base. And these are all the components needed to assemble your Pillion Pooch. I've tidied away all the components so I have a clean workspace. Now would be a sensible time to have a thorough read-through of the installation manual. It's worth noting at this stage the difference between the 2 M6 washers used in the assembly, the A-form and the C-form washers. It can be difficult to see the difference, but with them next to each other, it becomes obvious, with the A-form being the smaller of the 2. The next thing we're going to do is prepare a base for the mounting hardware you have chosen. If you're using a BRE rack or the Tour Pack rack, all you need to do is open the pre-drilled pilot holes using an 8mm drill bit. If you're using another type of rack, you'll need to mark out where the holes need to go and drill those holes accordingly. I'll demonstrate with the pilot holes. Once we have the holes drilled into the base, we can now attach the base to the gray plastic tub. So, placing the tub upside down on the table, we can now put the aluminum base on top. Just be aware that the front of the base can be identified by the 4 threaded inserts you can see along here, and the front of the tub by the Pillion Pooch embossed logo. Then you need to rotate the Pillion Pooch onto its back to gain access to its screw holes that attach the base to the tub. With all screws, ensure you apply some thread locker to the thread before screwing in place. Take one of these 16mm screws, and with the Form C M6 washer on it, Screw it loosely through the access hole and into the tub. Repeat this for the other 7 screws. Now don't fully tighten, as you'll need a little bit of give later when installing the roll bars. Return the Pillion Pooch to its upright position and locate our 4 roll bars. Remove the foam coverings on the bars and one at a time slide them into the corner holes. The holes are deliberately tight so the unit doesn't rattle around on the move, but if you really can't get the bars in, take your drill with a large bit attached to it. I have the 8mm still on here, and just open the hole slightly. Do this a little at a time and check the bars. You don't want to make the hole too loose. Once you're happy with the hole, the bar will push all the way down till it hits the bottom of the base. You may need to align the hole in the tub with the base, which is why we've left the 8 screws loose. Repeat this with all 4 of the bars. You can then pop the Pillion Pooch onto its back again. Take the 20mm M6 screw, and with the Form C washer on the screw, screw into the bottom of the roll bar to hold them in place. Again, don't fully tighten yet. Now that we have the roll bars in, we can tighten up the 8 screws that attach the base to the plastic tub. Take the bottom of the apex, this is the front and the back, and line up the roll bars with the slots. We can then grab the top half of the apex and marry that to the bottom. It will fit better one way or the other, so make sure you test and see which way is best. To screw the apex together, you need the 30mm M6 screw and one of the smaller A-form washers. It is easiest to screw on one on each side to begin with. This will hold the apex in place while you screw in the remaining 30mm M6 screws. A tip here is to push the screw completely through the bottom apex piece, and with the 2 pieces separated slightly, line up the screw with the thread. This is fairly loose at the moment, so let's apply some downward pressure as you tighten the 6 apex screws. This is looking great so far. It is really taking shape. We can now drill the 4 mounting holes into the plastic tub. The reason we didn't do this earlier is that there can be some movement between the base and the tub when attaching the roll bars. Now everything is lined up, we can go ahead and create those holes. So, using the same drill bit we used for the metal base, drill all the way through the plastic. Next thing we need to do is attach the harness securing hardware in. For this, you'll need 4 40mm screws with A-form washers. Take your first one and feed it through the swivel plate and into the hole in the apex. As always, don't tighten it fully until you have all 4 screws in and are happy that everything is in place. Next, we want to put in the twist fasteners. So these go at the front and will hold the cover in place. There are 2 of them in the screw bag and 4 countersunk screws to hold them in place. So simply hold the twist fastener and using the 2.5mm Allen key, tighten them all the way in. We're nearly there. Let's just tighten up the screws now. With the Pillion Pooch on its back, we can tighten up the screws for the roll bars. And that's the assembly complete. All we have to do now is attach your chosen mounting hardware. We'll cover the BRE rack and Torpack rack in this video, and for both of those you'll need 2 13mm spanners or sockets. If it's the BRE rack you've chosen, then we are going to be installing these pucks. And what we'll be doing is slightly different to the BRE manual. We'll be removing the screws they provide in the puck and using the 50mm M8 bolts we provided with the penny washers on them. So we screw the bolts into the puck and then place the bolt through the holes we drilled earlier. Take the BRE washer and an M8 nylock nut and screw the nut onto the bolt thread. Repeat this for all 4 pucks. With all 4 in place, the Pillion Pooch will now slide onto your BRE. Now I'll show you how to attach if you're using the Tor Pak Rack. Make sure you orientate the front of the rack to the front of the Pillion Pooch. Take a 35mm hex bolt and a smaller M8 washer and push that through the Tor Pak Rack and the Pillion Pooch. You then take a penny washer and an M8 nut and tighten the bolts in place. So now, with your Pillion Pooch mounted on your bike, you can take the false floor and simply lay that into the tub, and then the dog bed on top of it. It is worth noting that you can adjust the height of the harness chain using the removable link. This can be changed at any time to suit your dog. All that's left is to place the Pillion Pooch cover over the top. Now use the twist fasteners to hold them in place. And that's it. You're ready to ride. If you have any questions or thoughts, or simply want to share your riding with dogs story, drop us a comment below. We enjoy hearing from you. And don't forget to follow the socials, where we have an amazing community of riders waiting to chat and talk about all things bike and dog related. Make sure you ride safely, and happy travels.